Hey guys, what's up? This is Dingo Crikey here with another commentary video. This time I'm going to be discussing a general Transformers discussion topic. If you guys are interested in more news and commentary on Transformers 5, the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction toy line, or on other general Transformers discussion topics, then please check out my playlist and channel where I also have over 20 stop motions, some of which are previewed here. But as I said, this time I'm going to be discussing a general Transformers discussion topic, though it does kind of relate to the movies, and that is, will we ever see a Transformers prequel film which takes place almost entirely on Cybertron? So this was a viewer requested topic, but the comment came a while ago, and unfortunately I didn't write it down, so I don't remember the name of the person who requested it. So if you're watching this video, sorry I forgot your name, but thanks for the topic idea, because I think this is a really good one. Because a lot of people, especially a lot of long-term or die-hard Transformer fans, have wanted to see a Transformers film that takes place at least almost entirely on Cybertron for a long time. You know, some of these people are just people who are like sick of the human characters, sick of seeing Earth as an environment, and just want something on Cybertron. And other people are probably people who like stories like War for Cybertron or a lot of the comic books and want a movie that can follow more of those type of story arcs rather than the traditional stories of Autobots go to Earth, they're revealed to the humans, or they're staying in disguise and, you know, make some human friends, fight the Decepticons, save the day, and then later on in the series go to Cybertron, etc. You know, that format that a lot of the Transformers shows seem to follow. And I chose the topic because personally I'm really interested in seeing this as well. I mean, for a long time I've been curious about what a Transformers movie would be like if it was entirely on Cybertron. And of course, a lot of the Transformers media that takes place on Cybertron has been getting a lot more popular in recent years, with popularity rising with the comics and the games and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely is a relevant question. So let's get started. And I think we can start with the history of the issue. That is, looking at similar instances of this throughout Transformers history. Now, like I said, I know there's been a lot of stuff like this in the comic books and the games, but looking at more like mainstream media, like the films, cartoon series, and stuff like that. So one thing we know for sure is that none of the live-action films have had a large focus on Cybertron. I mean, in Age of Extinction, it was hardly mentioned at all, if it was mentioned at all. And in the three other films, we've only seen a few clips here and there, but not really that big a focus. Even the 1986 animated film, we did have clips on Cybertron, but it was probably only about 40% of the movie, you know, because we had stuff going on in space, on Quintessa, and also a large amount of the portion was spent on Earth, as most Transformers does. And the only cartoon series which has taken place almost entirely on Cybertron, outside of a few flashbacks here and there, was Beast Machines. I think it's also notable to mention that Beast Machines is pretty much considered a flop of a show. Most Transformers fans hated it, so it might not put out the best reputation for having a cartoon take place entirely on Cybertron, just saying. So anyways, there's a quick recap there, but on to the more interesting stuff. What would it actually be like? Well, I think one of the main points, at least in my opinion, is that preferably it would be a reboot. And here are the reasons why. Basically, I wouldn't want something related to the film series because the world of the Transformer films, the development of it, the history, and the perception among fans is pretty much a disaster as far as the movie goes. It wouldn't be interesting or deep, you know, just the way the Transformers have been presented to us in the Transformer films doesn't seem that interesting. It doesn't seem like we would really, care about their history. Yeah. Yes, it will be interesting to find out things like who are the creators in Transformers 5 and some stuff about their backstory, but having a movie totally take place on Cybertron in the world of the Transformer film franchise, I just don't think they should waste that opportunity on Michael Bay's Transformer films. I think it would just be a total waste. Just with the way Transformers are presented in the films, the level of seriousness isn't on par with the rest of Transformers. You really can't picture Transformers functioning in a society with the way they act in the films, so I don't think we'd want to watch them on planet Cybertron, you know? Overall, I think I would just prefer something a lot more like traditional Transformers, and I know a lot of other people would probably prefer that as well. Basically not really connected to any previous Transformer series. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily be a prequel to G1 or something like that. But it would be cool if it felt like it was something that related to general Transformers a little bit more. I mean, another cool possibility would be if they made this movie based off of War for Cybertron, or a comic book like the Dark Cybertron series. But, some of that is really complicated and complex. I don't know if they want to throw that at an audience right away. But War for Cybertron story, I think they could do that. That would be pretty cool. Also, like an Optimus Prime origin story. I mean, it not going along with the movies would kind of relate in this way as well. But, we see like X-Men Origins Wolverine, doesn't really line up with the other X-Men films very well. Well, that whole franchise is kind of screwed up right now. But anyways, the Transformers film, even if it's Transformers Origin, it doesn't really have to relate to the movie. We can just have the story of Optimus Prime, the history of Optimus Prime. And for people who really like the movies, maybe they could connect it in some way. But I think it would be preferable if it felt a lot more like traditional Transformers. But anyways, in general, I would like to see a more in-depth take on Transformers. I mean, look at it this way. If we are going to have a movie completely on Cybertron, we need Transformer characters who are the central focus, and we need them to be well-developed and relatable, while, there's still got to be Transformers. They can't act totally like people. They got to act like Transformers characters, but we need them to be more relatable than they were in the films, not just like war machines. Like, they can actually function in a society, that we can actually relate with them, their decisions, their conflicts, all those type of things. We see a lot of that in the comics, and some of it in Prime, Transformers Armada, Beast Wars is a great example. I'd want to see a lot more of that brought to Transformers. I mean, maybe people would go to see just a ton of robots battle out for like 3 hours or something with, have a bunch of characters with crazy, erratic personalities. But I don't think that would be a good movie. I'd prefer to see something a lot more like traditional Transformers in the area of characters once again. Like I said, we need to believe that Transformers actually built up a society and existed up to this point. Not like they're a bunch of, crazy ravenous animals on the Decepticon side and just a bunch of gun-ho good guys on the Autobot side. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's actually a society and a world there. They also need to create some kind of a conflict the audience cares about, but I think I already kind of covered that. I would like to also see it be a lot more science fiction-y than Transformers typically is. Like, not just an action flick like the other Transformer films are, but like a lot of detailed thought on the technology, kind of like what we've seen in Beast Wars. Like tech and science talk as well, like you'll see in shows like Star Trek and Stargate. And, like have science consultants on the board like they do for some of those shows. So we can have Transformers feel like a really, smart movie, not just like some dumb action film. I mean, I don't want it to be a movie where you have to, like, be a quantum physics major to understand it, but, I guess if you were a quantum physics major, you could be like, oh, that kind of makes sense in a weird Transformer fictional crazy way. I think that would be really cool. Basically, to have Transformers, instead of just being an action movie, be like an action/science fiction, but science fiction in a serious sense, not just, what we see in, like, the new Star Trek movies, the ones that just came out, or, I don't know, like a lot of movies today. I mean, we just have a lot of action movies today and, not a whole lot of story-based stuff. But anyways, that's a rant for another video. Going back to the whole traditional Transformers idea, as far as their designs for the movie, I would like to see something that was a lot like War for Cybertron, like a take on the traditional Transformers, but one that allows them to be more complex in transformations and that kind of thing, without going totally to the side of the movie. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be pretty cool. As far as the look of the movie, they could do something 2D or something with an anime style. I think an anime style Transformers film done really well would be really cool. But for this video, I'm, thinking more of a movie that's like live action CG-ish. But I think you can kind of separate those two categories, even though this film probably would be largely CG, even if it was considered live action, outside of maybe like some realistic backgrounds, some models, things like that. I think that'd be really cool if they did that, but that isn't really popular right now. But altogether, they could do a CG that's more realistic looking, like you would use in a live action film with people, or they could go for a more cartoony CG look, like you might see in War for Cybertron. Probably not as cartoony as Prime, like something, more realistic than that. I think that's the kind of look we could expect. So there are a lot of other things I could discuss in that area, but, it's like a never-ending tirade there because, there's just so much. So I'm just going to move on to the big question of what is actually the probability that this would happen, that a Transformers prequel film that took place on Cybertron would finally make its way to the theaters as Michael Bay's Transformer films did. I'm going to say probably not, or at least probably not anytime soon. I think that's really unfortunate, but I do think that's the truth on the matter. For one thing, TF5 and TF6 are still going to be made, so that takes us at least up to 2018 with these films still running, so they're probably not going to do anything then. And, even like 2 years after them, it's going to be a little too soon for a reboot, I think. I mean, they are rebooting franchises a lot quicker these days, but I think it's going to be too soon for something like Transformers. I mean, people are already confused enough by the Transformer films, especially mainstream viewers. A reboot would probably just confuse them more. They'd be like, is this connected to the past movies? Do I have to, readjust to all these situations? They're not going to be able to figure out, what Cybertron is, as opposed to what it used to be, certain concepts like the Matrix, all that kind of stuff. Transformer fans would understand the difference, those of you who, really, really care about Transformers, but the mainstream moviegoers, who unfortunately the movie would probably be more directed at, it would probably just baffle them. And once again, you'd have to reintroduce all these people to Transformers over again, so I don't know if that would actually go down very well. Also, it would be a really risky film for a company or producer to take up, because of some of the reasons I mentioned, but also because, in America, franchises such as Transformers are generally considered to be too kiddie. I mean, making a more mature movie about Transformers, one that adults can enjoy in a serious sense, and kids still can, but, it isn't just looked at as a kid's franchise. I don't know if American audiences can deal too well with that. Like mature Transformer characters, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know how they would deal with that. In Japan, it might be successful, but just because of the way American audiences are, I'm not really sure. Another reason it would be risky is that if you're already contemplating that this movie's going to be a flop, the big budget of it is not going to sound that appealing to you. I mean, I don't know how much Michael Bay's Transformer films cost to make, but if you're making a Transformers film that is entirely CG effects or models of Cybertronian cities and that kind of stuff, it's going to turn out to be very, very expensive. Even if it isn't as much of a realistic CGI being used, that's still going to be very pricey. CG for even cartoons is pretty expensive, I hear. So, it would be a very expensive film if people would want to undertake that. And there probably are a lot of other factors that would contribute in the process of making a movie, but, I can't really cover all those because I'm not too knowledgeable in those areas. But I do think a lot of it just comes down to the fact that audience will receive it that well. I mean, I mentioned it would be hard to get them to take it seriously. It's hard for American audiences to take anime movies seriously and stuff. That's, why they, if anything, are aired in select theaters in the United States. When American audiences expect something animated, they expect Disney or Pixar, something kind of silly or cute. They aren't expecting Transformers, a story that you're supposed to take seriously for the most part. They would have a hard time connecting with non-humanoid characters too. At least I think that would probably be an issue. I mean, yeah, you do have characters like C-3PO in Star Wars and R2-D2 who become very, very popular. I mean, that's definitely true. But, in Transformers, you only would have Transformer characters. And, they are really, really a far stretch from people in a lot of ways. I guess the faces are humanoid in a way, and they act like people a lot of times. I think it would just be a stretch for a lot of American audience to, really get used to that. Obviously, us Transformer fans would think it was awesome, but they'd probably be like, yeah, this is kind of weird. I can't really connect with it. So, and sadly, you do have a lot of your people who just watch movies for, like, I don't know, who they think are hot actors or cool cars and, pop culture references or, romance, all this kind of stuff. And you're really not going to have any of that in a Transformers film that takes place on Cybertron, which I think is a cool thing, but I think that would deter a lot of audience because sadly, you talk to a lot of people and, that's why they go to movies, and, that's really unfortunate that people are that shallow, but I think there are a lot of people, not always necessarily Transformer fans, who might be able to overlook the absence of a lot of those things. Maybe they've been looking for a movie that would do that. But, I just don't think there's enough of them. I just don't think it's probable in that area. Now, as far as the mainstream audience goes, one thing that does bring up its probability is the fact that, at least the way I've been looking at, a lot more nerdy things are starting to become accepted and become more mainstream, which has its upsides and downsides. But, so maybe something like a Transformers prequel film on Cybertron, would be accepted in maybe another 10 years or something like that. Maybe they could actually do it. I still think it's a little too early, but, a lot more of that nerdy stuff is being accepted now, so, not by all mainstream audience, but by more of it than if you were to go back, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something like that. It seems like there are a lot more of your, I guess, regular people, not necessarily like fans of Transformers, this kind of stuff, who are becoming more nerdy, like they really follow shows like Game of Thrones or Walking Dead and Breaking Bad when it was on the air, so they, you do have a lot more of that. But, anyways, kind of going on a little bit of a rant there, but, overall, I just don't think there are enough probable factors to make this movie a reality. I don't think it's probable, at least not in the next decade. Now, personally, if they were to do all those things, as I mentioned in the first half of the video, I think it would be a really, really cool movie, or at least it'd have a chance of being a really cool movie. If they got a good director, good voice actors, made the visuals look great and stuck to a lot of general Transformer aspect, I think it'd be really cool. I would really like to see it. I would like to see, it be something beyond just Transformers Prime, Beast Hunters, Predacon Rising. I mean, that's cool and all, but it would be so cool to see, like a heavy budget Transformers film that can focus on a lot of the deeper aspects of Transformers. I think that'd be really cool. As I said earlier in the video, I would also love to see like a Transformers anime movie that focuses on a lot of these themes, like really, really good animation. Because we had series like Transformers Armada that were anime, but for the most part, it didn't really look that good as far as animation went. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll just say the last episode, there's a battle in that, and the animation is like incredible. The way the Transformers' faces look, the shading, the detailing, it looks all so nice in that. If we could have an entire Transformers movie that looks like that and even better, that would be really cool. But anyways, that's my general thoughts on this. You guys can obviously leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be really curious to know what some of you think of this, because it is a really interesting topic. Maybe you have reasons to think there would be higher chances, maybe you don't really care about seeing a Transformers movie like this. You'd rather see a anime Transformers film or something like the Marvel and DC animated films that they do. Maybe you'd want to see something like that. And also, feel free to drop off ideas of what you would like to see done in a Transformers film, like, where you'd like to see it focus, what aspects of certain characters past, all that kind of stuff. Maybe you want to see like an Optimus Origins film, or maybe you're sick of Optimus and you want to see it focus on, I don't know, some character like Wind Charger. They're just throwing a random one out there. But anyways, yeah, leave that in the comment section below, along with any topic suggestions. I've gotten a lot of good topic suggestions lately, ones that I do plan to do videos on, so this was a little bit of an old one I wanted to get around to and get it done, but, for those of you who have posted recent topic suggestions, I've liked a lot of the ones I've gotten lately. Thanks for them, thanks for giving ideas for videos, and I do plan to getting around to them, and In closing here, I want to apologize for if I'm a little bit harder to understand in this video. The time of year it is, it gets colder in my area, so I've had a little bit of stuffiness and stuff like that. So if I sound nasal and annoying, that's the reason why. A bit of mucus, just all that kind of stuff. Winter is so much fun, isn't it? Ugh. Anyways, thanks for the feedback and topic suggestions. More commentary videos are going to be coming soon. But if you're new to these commentary videos and, you like what you hear, then you can go back and look through some of my previous ones. I have over 35 of them on my channel, so there's a lot to listen to there. I also have over 20 Transformers stop motion videos, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, so feel free to check those out as well. That's all I have to say for this one. Thanks for watching, stay tuned, and have a good one, guys.